Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. It's time to plan for the apocalypse. What you're gonna need is a big concrete bunker under your house. Then, you're gonna need to line the inside of that bunker with tinfoil to keep the maelstrom out. And when you've done that, you're gonna need some jingle. So get that barter ready, because when the world blows up, you're gonna need to trade for stuff like big fuck off guns and the weird drugs. But none of that is actually true. Not for us, anyway. Certainly not for us. Our apocalypse is yet to be told. The apocalypse of our poor friends, Brace and Tynant and poor Dice. Remember Wind and Wind? Wind had the right call of getting the fuck out of Dodge. Ferris, Nipperkin, all them folks, they're still stuck in this business. And it's our job right here today to at least find ourselves in a position to be semi-prepared for the chaos that they're going to throw at us. So in Apocalypse World, the bakers have provided us with some tools in second edition called threats to work out how to provide the characters opportunities to do their cool thing, right? Why do we play the game? To find out what happens. We don't. This is prep in the sense of having a thing to answer questions when the players come to us. So we want to know some things about the world, and that's what our threats are for. They're for asking interesting questions. So let's take a walk through our garden of threats. Let's go to the threat garden. And let's figure out what is going on. Let's figure out if we've answered any of our stakes questions, shall we? Okay, so Barber's Gang. Barber's Gang is formerly Tynant's gang, but when Tynant became a faceless, Tynant was like, nah. So integration into the cult of ghosts is their main jam, right? This threat system is getting integrated. Without the PC's help, there is going to be blood and fire before this happens. The PCs could ease this process, right? Tynant could make a stand. Brace could be like, yo, give me your loyalty. But they just fucked off, right? Poor PCs. Why do you do this? Why do you allow me this beautiful opportunity to fuck with you? So, absent of player character assistance, the players are going, or the NPCs are going to follow their impulse. So Barber's Gang is going to try to victimize anyone who stands out, and the Cult of Ghosts is going to leave people bereft. The Cult of Ghosts is going to be like, no, this is our shit. You can't join unless you die, unless you're bereft of your life. And Barber's Gang is going to say, well, we want it. So what I think is going to happen is that the Cult of Ghosts is going to start murdering Barber's Gang. I think this is just a thing. And you can't, I don't think Barber's Gang, without Tynant, I don't think Barber's Gang has the ability to fight back. So let's change up their threat clock, shall we? And this is a threat clock of they're fucked, basically. You know what? No, you know what? Let's just get aggressive. Let's be aggressive, be aggressive. Barber's Gang, you lose. You're dead. Good job. You're fucking dead. Corpseified. So the continued pogrom against the living means the Cult of Ghosts swells in size. No one yet living remains of Barber's Gang. They are all dead. They have all joined the Cult of Ghosts by shuffling off their mortal coil, whether they wanted to or not. They're dead. The Cult of Ghosts now contains 60 dead folks. It's everyone. The temple is empty. The temple is devoid of personage. So I'm gonna make a note. This is I keep my GM notebook to let me know what is going on in the world immediately. This is the stuff that's like, okay, this will keep percolating, but the GM notebook, this is here for me to say at the beginning of the session, remember this is true. So, Friday. Ooh, it's Friday the 13th tomorrow. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Awesome. I'm excited. Okay, so the cult of ghosts. Everyone at the temple is dead. The temple's all hollow now, too. It's just got this dead well, too. Everyone at the temple. D-E-A-D. Toast. Dead. Roasted. Burnt. Desiccated. The cult of ghosts. Yeah, they got their shit. They have it all under control. So let's look at our stakes questions here. Have we answered any of these? How long before being the vessel destroys Brace? Can they be reconciled with Tynant's gang? Nope. Do they have the power to create a new well? I don't care. Will Brace drown the world? Still a question. So let's say one question I will ask. Now that everyone's dead. No, I know the answer to this question. I was going to say, now that everyone in the temple is dead, what do the ghosts want? They want to drown the world. They want to support Brace. So how do the cult of ghosts force Brace into the drowning? The drowning. So here's the thing. The world is caught between two places. It's caught between cybergenesis and drowning, right? The ghosts of the well, want to drown the earth. They want to create a world in which reality is submerged in the great forgetting of the well. They want to spread the poisonous water. They want everyone to drown, and they want to take the great beasts of the apocalypse with them. They want to drown the robots. They are opposed to cybergenesis because all flesh must be drowned. That's their ultimate plan. This is the pathway. The cult of ghosts, their continuity, is the pathway that, if they win, will lead us to Series 1 of Apocalypse World. The other side is the Dying Grounds and Cybergenesis. Cybergenesis is the all humans die, some humans become biorobots. This is the David Cronenberg has a baby with H.R. Giger, and that's what's left of the world. These are the two forces aligned against the world, and the players are caught in the middle. So really, all I got to do is just follow my clock. So the first physical signs of change, right? The first physical signs of change are now happening. And I made a note. Let me read you from my GM notebook. I made a note that said, not taking the medicine means that Brace begins to mutate now. So I have to make a note here. Immediate mutation for Brace. Slowly, you're becoming the water bearer, right? It's leaning hard into, are you going to go and puncture yourself and let loose the flood of the second apocalypse or not? So this is advancing. This is very definitely advancing. Cool. All right. Let's carry on. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we've got the well itself. Now, the well itself is an empty source of poison. And we know the town is now suffering de-harm from that poison. These are humans drinking bad water and dying. I think we know that Brace carries the source, but the water is bereft, right? And actually, I want to write real quick, just to be super clear about what we talk about when we're talking about the well. The source, I guess, once the source, now an empty poison husk spilling venom into the world. And I want to change this threat type. Look at this. We're getting everything's changing up. We're going to change this threat type because now that it's killing people, now that this poison water is here and people are going to start drinking it, this is going to create a new form of threat. So instead of being a landscape, and it's not here to trap or frustrate passage, instead, this is, I think, a terrain. Oh, no, terrain is weird too. I can't envision a world in which I use terrain as it's written. A small and immediate piece of landscape. Like, I don't know. Maybe for a travel game, but not for me. I'm going to change it. It's actually still a landscape, but it's going to become a breeding pit. And I know my move now. I know what I need to do. So breeding pit's impulse is to generate badness. And you remember I wrote here, if you're an NPC, who knows? Probably you're fucked. If you're an NPC, the poison makes you into a horrifying zombie type thing. So people who drink the water become roving bands of zombie cannibals. Because who doesn't love roaming bands of zombie cannibals? So into it. Now the temple would suffer deharm of water, but there's no one left in the temple. So let's change this to everyone in town is dead or afflicted. So it hasn't happened yet. There's still some people dying of thirst, but all the townsfolk, if we click this one more time, they're all going to be the horrifying zomboids. And then lastly, no water left for anyone. This means everyone in town is dead. So everyone runs out of water. They die of thirst. The thing is, you're a horrifying zombie. You eat flesh and you drink bad water. If you run out of bad water, you still you're still a human. This is our 28 days later moment, right? This is the like, oh, well, they just run out of fluid, they get dehydrated and they die because the well is all drunk up. The well's only purpose now is to kill everyone in town, is to poison them. So we know the answers to all these questions. It can't be stopped. The only stakes question is, I mean, I don't know. Everything seems pretty fucked up. I don't have that question. No, now, so the difference, the arcade asked, what's the difference between 11 and 12? So 11, everyone in town is still around, but they're in zombie mode. No, see, everyone in town is dying or afflicted. They're one of those two things. At 12, everyone is just dead. There are no more afflicted, no more unafflicted. There is no one. No townsfolk live. So those two things, they are different. So that's how that goes. We also know now, if the poison gets in your blood, that's what turns you into a weird zombie. So if any PC drinks the well, bad time for them. There you go. Everything is just getting so messed up. It's so messed up. Because people are still drinking the water and they're like, it's the only water we have. It's like drinking salt water in the ocean. Like, you go crazy and then start losing your mind because you're so thirsty. You're like, well, maybe just a little sip of salt water, right? Town is wrecked. You've ruined the only good thing that exists. All right. As goes the game, so go the threats. I'm running out as the threats burn themselves out. Yes, yeah. Chekhov's gunman asked, does cybergenesis make you immune to the poison? Yes, Ferris and Nipperkin don't need to drink water. So that's how it goes. So Jeanette, we can tick Jeanette's clock. Let's zoom in. Let's tick Jeanette's clock forward because wolves are at the door, yo. Jeanette and her gang have come into town and they've killed Bill. Bill is dead. Bill is dead, and the town is about to suffer the big raid. Lord Xandrid asks, how do they get the water if the temple delivery is dead? No, the temple delivers by pipes, right? So the pipes are still open, pouring this shit water into town. The ghosts would definitely have allowed that to happen. So Bill is dead. Bill was the second to last bastion of defense. And the wolves are at the door. The big raid is going to either be everyone is massacred, or if the PCs can muster some kind of defense, maybe they'll be able to fight back. So I think it's time to define Jeanette's gang. So let's take a look at the gang rules, and we'll define Jeanette's gang. Jeanette has been percolating in the background real goodly like. let me see what section building gangs is in. I think it's like maybe under the chopper. I just know like gang tags. Gangs, here we go. Gear and crap. All right. Gangs descriptive tags. How many people do we think are in this gang? I think it's large, right? Because the sizes are a small gang, 10 to 25, a medium gang, 25 to 50, or a large gang. And a large gang is over 50 people. So I'm gonna make them a large gang. Let's get started. All right. A large gang. They have 2 armor. They're well armored. I'm going to give them 3 harm, I think. And let's give them some other stats here. So a large 2 armor, 3 arm gang. They are mobile. They are savage. No, I don't think they're savage. I think they're disciplined now. They're rich. I think maybe they've got vulnerable. And I actually have an idea. I want to take off mobile. They're vulnerable to I think they're vulnerable to breakdown. Yeah, they need special stuff to keep their gang going. They're not mobile anymore because they have their own water supply, right? So we'll answer that question in a second. So that is that's that, I think, for them. They're a large, rich gang that's vulnerable to breakdown. They have specialized gear. They have military shit. And they're just here to rob and raid the town. Jeanette's free of obligation to the temple and its water because they have their own water supply back up at the military base, which might be able to save everybody if the PCs ever learn about it. So the stakes question here now just becomes, will Queen Wolf Jeanette murder and pillage the town? Is that going to happen? Will anyone... I guess let's rephrase this. Who, if anyone, can stand up to Jeanette? So this is going to be real bad. There's so much going on. So they're going to show up and they're just going to like rob and destroy the place unless someone fights them. That's what's going to happen in the big raid. So that big raid will happen no matter what, but how it turns out will be up to the battle moves. Unless it happens off screen. What would be perfect for me to allow me to cause the most chaos, what would be perfect is the PCs are at the town now. Bad things are happening. Bad shit has happened at the temple because they left. They pack up and they either go to the temple or they go to the dying grounds, and then the town gets wiped clean. Like every time the PCs move away, the town or the temple, like something gets destroyed. So they're gonna need to figure out where they are. Everything's getting rough for the world, and that's how Apocalypse World works, right? All right, let's take a quick look. What else we got? We've got the dregs, and we've got the dying grounds, and we've got some drug stuff. So let's flip flop on over here to the dying grounds. So the dying grounds, these are the enemy of the cult of ghosts. This is Nipperkin and Scab's new thing. Now, God, some of my favorite stuff from the last episode, I made notes on this specifically, was when Trench got control of Scab. When Huron was just like, here you go. Here's Scab. I hand Scab over to Trench. So, yeah. Scab is reborn as a chopped up, fucked up mutant. I think what's happening here is that the Maelstrom The Maelstrom exists as a neutral thing surrounding all of these fronts and trying to like interact with them, but doesn't want anything on its own. I think what's happened here is that Scab undergoes a form of indirect cybergenesis, right? I think that when Huron performs her art, she's cutting away the humanity of the people that she cuts on. Some people have more humanity and some people have less. The people with more humanity keep more of themselves. Like we were talking about before, she has to dig to find the beauty within. And I think that's that sort of perfected Maelstrom inspired weird beauty. So the Dying Grounds, we have Scab, the Reborn, Cybergenesis. What the Dying Grounds want is for the Dregs, Trench's gang, to become their implement. And Heron will be the one that makes the decision whether this happens. If Heron and Ferris get on board with Cybergenesis, this will very quickly become a PvP situation where it's Tynant and Brace on the side of flooding the world, and Ferris and Heron on the other side, on the side of Cybergenesis, and they butt heads over the chaos of the world. So I think what the Dying Grounds want is more. They want more of that shit. So right now they're still slumbering. They're still doing the Yog Sothoth thing where they're asleep but communicating through dreams. They haven't awakened yet. What will awaken them is if Brace embraces the power of the well, right? And if Brace is ever like, I consume the source, if I become the source, we're gonna fill this whole clock right away. Permanent weirdness, visions of the Maelstrom. She's in control of her own transcendence. She can internalize the power of the well. She can eat the source for real and become one with it. And if she does that, that fills her clock all the way to midnight, awakens the beasts of the Dying Grounds, and begins both the flooding and the beasts coming to life to mess shit up. So if that happens, that's going to immediately jump us here to the Age of Machines beginning and the Great War between the Cthulhuid beasts and the other thing. Now, the point of the medicine was to pollute or destroy the source, right? The reason why Ferris and Nipperkin wanted Brace to take that medicine was that it would neutralize the source, at least temporarily, and maybe kill Brace in the process, which is what they really want. It was a modified version of the Cybergenesis drug that's going to go out to everybody. That's what Nipperkin and the Dying Grounds really want. They want Brace to die and neutralize so that the drowning never happens. So we'll see how this goes. The beasts will awaken in response to the flood. Yeah. So basically the ambient psychic levels of flood, once it raises to a certain level, that's going to trigger the beasts of the Dying Ground. The ancient beasts awaken. And then we're going to get, elder gods of metal and steel, these hellish creatures awakening and actively taking part in the world. So, these two fronts, these two threats are intimately tied to one another. Speaking of intimate ties, Nipperkin, prophet of beasts, Nipperkin has offered Brace a taste of Cybergenesis and was rejected. The offering has happened. So all that's left, Nipperkin, all that's left for him is to undergo final metamorphosis. Now, what I think is going to happen, I'm going to make a note for the next session. Nipperkin plans to lead Ferris into the deep parts of the Dying Ground. We're going to see the Dying Ground in person, right? He's milked the... You remember that scene where he's like milking the great robot, that metaphor? He's done that. He's prepared the grounds. It's time for his final metamorphosis. He's going to go and become one with the Dying Grounds, which will empower them, empower the beasts, and provide them with more power when the time comes to struggle. They're still sleeping, and I think if this happens, we might jump ahead to the Dying Grounds awakening. I'm actually going to set this. So there's two triggers now on the awakening of the great beasts, right? So Ferris, oh, that's such a good idea. So Sweevy just said maybe offer Ferris the chance to decide the final form of Nipperkin. Yes, Nipperkin the Destructor. So that's perfect. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna make a note here. Brace is gonna begin to mutate. Everyone at the temple is dead. Nipperkin gets the call for his finale. Excuse me. Let Ferris decide. Okay, so if it happens, Nipperkin is going to undergo transcendence. Pure cybergenesis. He's going to become one with the beasts, and he'll awaken them if this happens, which is going to jump us ahead to awakening the beasts of the Dying Ground. The Dying Ground beast will also awaken if the Cult of Ghosts, if Brace embraces her power, right? So I'm going to change the name of this, and we're just going to call it the Drowning. So this can happen. We can jump to 12, or we can slowly do this. And what I think happens here for this time, this sort of click through, I think the thing is that it will happen slowly. Like, Brace can still reject the well. Brace might become something other than the vessel, but honestly, in the next session, if Brace doesn't actively reject the well, okay, we're all doing this. Hold me accountable. We're holding each other accountable for this narrative to come. If Brace does not reject the well in the next session, it will become too late and the drowning will begin, right? It will happen. So we're going to give Brace one opportunity to reject the well. Brace must reject the well, or it's too late. All right, next session. Big important shit. Cool. All right. So the Dying Grounds, Nipperkin, it's all coming to a horrible bleeding head. Let's take a look at some of the more mundane issues that are still being dealt with. So the dregs, Trench's new Hive Queen swarmers. I only have one question for them. Will they fight the wolves or abandon the town and leave for the Dying Grounds? So I see that as the two main options for the dregs. They're going to fight with the wolves and die, right? Fight to protect the town, the manufactory, whatever, and die, or they're going to leave. So I want to have Trench have a conversation about this with Heron, right? Like, what do we do? These wolves are at the door. They're going to, do we stay and fight or do we flee? And if so, where do we go? The answer, of course, Nipperkin will be like, come with me, my friends. Come to safety. Come to the new temple, a temple of steel and of oil, a temple of blood. Come, exult in your cybergenesis, my brothers and sisters. So this is what's going to happen. They'll either fight and die, or they'll leave. I don't even really need to set them up as a gang. I mean, okay, let's do it anyway, because, you know, mechanically we might need that. They are also they're a medium gang, I think. No, there's more than 50. Yep, they're a large gang too. I think they have less armor and do less harm. They used to be rich, but they're not now. Instead, they are savage. They do have a home base, so they're tied to that. They're savage, and they used to be unruly. They're not anymore. And I think that they are, I think that they're going to have obligation. They're vulnerable to obligation. And you know what I'm going to do, I think? Let me make a note. Heron is offered leadership of the gang. If she so chooses, give her the, what's the name of the, like, chopper? Let's look at the chopper move. Let's look at the chopper move and the other one. So, so the chopper one is Pack Alpha. It sounds more like the hard holder. Or should we give her the hocus one? No, let's give her the hard holder one. The where is it? Leadership. Yeah, totally. Okay, give her the leadership move. There we go. Okay. So if Heron comes to the gang, the dregs become her gang. They're like, please, like, lead us, tell us what to do. So I'll make a note there too. Trench officially like gives command of the gang. So this brings up a point about how moves work. So moves in Apocalypse World are prescriptive and descriptive. They describe what the character already is, and they're able to prescribe what the character is in both the fiction and the mechanics. So if a player gets a thing that they can describe as their own, so if you get leadership of the gang, then prescriptively or descriptively, I can't remember which, the character sheet must also change. Just like if you take a move on the character sheet, the fiction must change. So in this case, this will be Trench saying, please lead us, and Heron saying yes, and gaining the leadership move. Otherwise, it's the other way around, right? It's no, cool, they're just a threat and they're going to burn themselves out. If Heron says no, I think that the dregs will just stay in town and try to fight to protect. They'll continue on their own, in their own way. Yeah. All right. Cool. I dig it. No, Scab is part of a different threat now. Scab technically, like, bodily belongs to Trench, but spiritually is communing with the Dying Grounds. Nipperkin might try to steal Scab's body away, but Scab wants to go. Scab, part of the question here, right? Will Scab convert Trench? Scab is on the Cybergenesis side. Scab is actually really happy for what happened to her. She's happy to be mutilated in this way because she's very, very damaged by the Maelstrom. Poor Scab. Okay, great. So leadership is offered. And then lastly, God, everybody's addicted to drugs. And the drugs have run out. Everyone is going through massive, horrible withdrawal. I think we can just jump right to that. This clock has played itself out. So the only question that I have now, for the drugs is, will Ferris and Nipperkin and maybe Heron be able, or will Ferris deliver the new shit to the people before they all die of, I don't know, whatever, a ton of stuff. They still have a chance. Oh, that's very large. They still have a chance to do so, but haven't yet. So what'll happen here? Everyone in town who's still alive, dying of thirst, slowly becoming, cannibal, poison, water, whatever. Will Ferris. They're going to be attacked, right? But if Ferris delivers the, what is it called in Catholicism when you receive, like, not communion, the other thing, sacristy? Anyway, will they deliver this new sacredness unto the people who will shoot it into their veins and undergo immediate powerful cybergenesis? If so, you've got this army of strung out junkies who suddenly become perfected, horrible bio androids. That gang might be able to stand up to Jeanette, right? Then it'll become a, like, John Connor versus the Terminator situation. The Sacrament, that's the one. Let's call it that. And we'll call it the Shining Sacrament. Great and hot, burned into thy veins, shot through with holy light. Yeah. So here's the order of things, right? Jeanette is going to be the most clear and present physical danger. Heron might be able to convince Trench to either flee or fight. the people of the town, the populace, can be converted through cybergenesis by way of the Shining Sacrament. If not, then death. They will all die, either of this, or their zombification problem, or being killed by Jeanette's machine guns. Jeanette will purge the town and take it over, right? This is going to directly affect Ferris because Ferris has a lab in town. Even if the players are like, I don't care, let's forestall the drowning, let's forestall cybergenesis, Jeanette will be on the doorstep, ready to ride, right? This big raid that I'm talking about over here, where's Jeanette? The big raid, this is, they attack the whole town, right? Everyone and everything in the town. There are people in Jeanette's gang, I don't know, maybe Hammer, who would be so, so happy to take everything in Ferris's lab and use it himself, right? So, oh boy, the you know, every session that we prep for, I think, how's it going to get worse? And every week, the answer is in all ways. So, cool. Nihilism. It's great. So that's prep. I am personally now ready for our session tomorrow, and I hope that you will tune in to find out who will win. Our great unknowable cybernetic demon overlords, the ghosts of a past that we destroyed and for whom we will bleed. Or maybe just a bunch of like regular dudes with machine guns will roll in and annihilate everybody. I'm pretty excited either way. The PCs will throw a big old monkey wrench into things, I'm sure, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks for coming and hanging out and helping me prep for Apocalypse World. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific, all right? See you then. Bye-bye.